Hello, it's Fellonius. I like to talk about the fall, or the autumn, that I rather call it. I will say that finally is the awful summer to its end, and my best time has started. No, it's different from year to year, of course it is. This year I have got a lot of fall to enjoy, actually too much. And, well, as you know, I didn't get any summer at all. I'm not going to whine about 2015. Then you might wonder, how can anyone feel happy about the years going to its death, or whatever you can call it, perhaps return to sleep, anything? Well, for me, it's more about my bringing up when I was little. And any Freudian listening now, you can just hold your ears, because this is more psychologically correct than that. During my time as a 4 to 10 year old, during the 60s, I was constantly bullied. I was a little fat capital guy from up north, living in the south of the country. And I kept myself aside most of my time. Well, it's how you do. During this time, the 60s, it was very natural that all kids, all of them, should be out. No, and in my case, then I was, well, a bit, I wasn't where I should be. During our summer break, this was natural. There wasn't one single mother, and all of them was actually home mothers, who didn't put out their little ones to, hedgehogs' nests and old, not really filled cellars and other water-filled things. After such a 10-week period, because we have 10 weeks of summer holiday, I usually get a little bit calmer within the school walls. But most of all, it suddenly was totally okay to sit in and read books again. That was the autumn. The weather wasn't nice. And these books I had to go and get to the library, which was a bit of a way away. Oh yes, there weren't any ugly old men trying to give you some candy. Oh no, it wasn't. And no children buyer who was sitting there in their dark Mercedeses. No. I could take my 2, perhaps 3 earlier borrowed books and walk away to new adventures, written down and perfectly placed in alphabetical order in my most favorite local place, the library. Perhaps it was a bit windy. Yeah. Perhaps it even rained. Well, I can even imagine there was half a storm sometimes. But these walks to and through my library, that was my best time. Sometimes you can get a hazelnut or two from a tree on a bush on the other side of a wall. One autumn I actually also had an organ class. In the same local, of course, by the library, but since I'm not a musical guy, that didn't go on for long. It's a battle against the impossible. But I made sure that I didn't go and borrow any books at the same time, because that meant that I could go twice a week for, 1 month or 2. Of course, there are other things about autumn that I like. But like this year, I got a lot of good plums and made myself plum and marmalade, and it's so good. And round about me, they're talking about, taking care of the apples and all that stuff, because that's what it is. And in TVs and magazines, they are talking about taking care of the autumn gold, because that is also what it is. It really is. Years have passed, of course, and those walks, I tried to get them back somehow, but it's not the same. Now and then I just take waiting for the darkness to come And then I put on my little reflective vest and take a walk. Up to a couple of years ago, I still walked to the library, but the community has withdrawn that, or if it was the internet. And taking the car to a cozy place like the library, that's not really what I want. I have been thinking about taking evening classes, but then again it's the car. Well, you can park it a bit far away, but then again it's my work. No, I can't at the moment. I drive many evenings as well, and there is a point of getting home late in the evening after being to work. It is like getting home from the library back in the 60s, because there is that's where my true fall is. To be able to sit in afterwards, that's important, and look out. To not have bad conscience because you're not out in the worst weather. Well, perhaps that's more of the winter. But for me, it really starts in the autumn.